Although Raya and the Last Dragon arrived without much fanfare, it's one movie that Disney should definitely consider for a sequel in the next few years. The slate of upcoming Disney movies suggests that the studio will be continuing their recent pattern of producing sequels alongside original movies. This means that some underrated Disney movies could finally get the attention they deserve. Raya and the Last Dragon is a prime contender for the sequel treatment, since it ends with plenty more left to discover in the land of Kumandra. Raya and the Last Dragon was released simultaneously in theaters and on streaming, which probably didn't do it any favors. It was also somewhat overshadowed by Encanto, which was also released in 2021. Nevertheless, Raya and the Last Dragon received positive reviews, and it was nominated for the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. Its 93% Rotten Tomatoes score, with a 97% audience score, is just as impressive as any of Disney's animated movies from recent years. Not all good movies necessarily need sequels, but Raya and the Last Dragon is the kind that does. Raya and the Last Dragon starts with a brief prologue that describes how Kumandra once existed as a prosperous society, long before it fractured into 5 warring chiefdoms. After the ending of Raya and the Last Dragon, it seems as though the chiefdoms are reuniting, but working together for the first time in 500 years won't necessarily be easy. Despite this upbeat ending, there's a lot of potential for a Raya and the Last Dragon sequel to explore the growing pains of this new era of peace, as old enemies struggle to become friends. A sequel could also answer one of the biggest mysteries hanging over the first movie. There's no indication of what lies beyond the borders of Kumandra. The 5 chiefdoms are preoccupied with fighting the Druun and guarding their fragments of Sisu's gem, but an era of prosperity could give them the chance to turn their attention outwards for once. This would also be a good way to introduce some new characters or creatures for the sequel, as the edges of the map expand and Raya and the Last Dragon gets a chance to deepen its world building. Raya and the Last Dragon explains that the Druun are created by humanity's distrust and disharmony, but the ramifications of this aren't fully explored. There could also be other dark forces at play in Kumandra, or other ways for the Druun to return. With Kumandra working together, it gives a potential sequel movie the chance to explore how the different characters from across the land might be able to band together to fight a common enemy, whether this is the Druun or something else entirely. There could also be other corners of Kumandra that Raya is yet to explore. The relationship between Raya and Nemaeri sits at the heart of the story, and it develops the themes of trust and togetherness more than anything else. Nemaeri betrays Raya when they are both children, but she also struggles to place her faith in her later in life. What makes her an underrated Disney villain is the fact that she's clearly so conflicted, trying to unlearn the prejudice that's been drilled into her while simultaneously trying to honor her family and her position as a leader of the Fang. Her act of bravery is symbolic of Kumandra's return to peace. Raya and Nemaeri have a lot more in common than they think. Although fate places them on opposite sides of a fierce conflict, they are both princesses who have been forced to toughen up, while holding on to dreams of peace to different degrees. The ending of Raya and the Last Dragon suggests that they could be moved forward as friends, rather than enemies, but it's unclear what exactly this will entail. It's possible that they will be key figures in the rebuilding of Kumandra, perhaps taking on leadership roles alongside their parents. A Raya and the Last Dragon sequel could see Raya and Nemaeri finally teaming up and using their incredible martial arts skills in tandem. Their fight scenes are some of the most exciting glimpses of action in the first movie, so having them on the same side could kick things up a notch. The one dark cloud hanging over their potential friendship could be Varana. Nemaeri's mother always seems especially distrustful and resistant to the idea of change. She all but reveals herself to be the true villain when she forbids Nemaeri from using the gem to revive the people encased in stone by the Druun. so she may not take to the idea of a united Kumandra kindly. Awkwafina provides a jolt of energy in the cast of Raya and the Last Dragon. Although Seisu is obviously central to the plot, she also acts as the comic relief a lot of the time.